Hey Joel, thanks for stopping by. So, over the last few months, I've been seeing a lot of stuff in my social media about Zohran Mamdani. He's running for mayor in New York City, and last night, I don't know if you caught it or not, but they had their first, probably only, mayoral debate of the season. Their election is going to be on the 4th of November to see who's going to run New York City. So this will probably be the last time we see them all together on stage. If you aren't fully aware of what's going on up there, you have Zohran, who's running as the Democratic candidate. He won their primary. He beat Andrew Cuomo, who is now running as an independent. And of course, Curtis Silva, who I wasn't really too familiar with until recently. He's the guy who you see wearing the beret all the time. He's running as a Republican. And like I was saying, last night they all met on stage to hash it out. Now I saw some clips of this through my social media scrolling last night and this morning, and I gotta say one thing that I find really refreshing about Zohran Mamdani is that he's a younger person. I feel like a lot of us, especially over the last 10, 15 years or so, we're just so used to seeing older geriatric people on screen. And not just in presidential candidates, but in senators and representatives and just in general, all across the board in our political spectrum. It seems to be like old people. So having a young person is nice. Not to mention someone who can speak in full sentences. It doesn't sound like he's trying to imitate another person. It's just what he sounds like in general. Now, his age was brought up. Of course, he's 33. He won't be the youngest person to be the mayor of New York City if elected. That went to a 31-year-old more than 100 years ago, but he's still there. He won't be the youngest person, but he is very young. That's for sure. He's actually just 2 months older than me. But I don't think being in your early 30s is disqualifying to be a mayor. I mean, it's a mayor. Sure, it's New York City. It is one of the largest cities in the United States, but it's still, you're a mayor. It's certainly a role that needs to be filled. There needs to be someone in that seat for every town, but at the end of the day, it's still just being a mayor. And as mayoral candidate Mamdani said in response to Andrew Cuomo calling out his lack of experience, he said he makes up for it in integrity, which is something that he claims Andrew Cuomo lacks, which surely, if you all can remember just 4 or 5 years ago, that's why Andrew Cuomo is not the governor of New York right now, because he resigned in shame due to his touchy-feely nature with the people in his wheelhouse, trying to blame that on his being Italian. Curtis Silva, the guy who's running as a Republican, managed to bring this up as well, that Andrew Cuomo seems to have a problem with being told no, seeing as he lost the Democratic primary and still is refusing to drop out of the race, running as an independent now. But I should be clear that while I did see a lot of clips through my scrolling, people have sent me some videos as well, I did not watch this debate from start to finish. If you did, there's no knocking you for that. If you're someone who lives in New York City, I certainly hope you're keeping up with your electoral politics and that you're participating in the system. If you're a resident of New York State, again, I know it's not your city, but it is the biggest city in your state, so paying attention to who's going to be running it might be beneficial to you. But for a lot of you, I find it very strange how much zeal you're putting behind this election. I've been keeping up with this in passing, but it's not something that's at the forefront of my mind because I am from South Carolina. While I'm certain whoever is the mayor of New York will make some news waves one way or another, after all, Eric Adams seems to have been a staple on NPR for the last few months. I just don't think that whoever's going to be the mayor of a city is going to affect my life in the day-to-day in the way that some of you seem to think it will. Oftentimes, I've used a rule of thumb that the further away someone is from a conflict or a point of interest, the less you should care about their opinion on that subject matter. I bring this up specifically in reference to Mamdani's race because of a post I saw by user Brenton Seize the Banks. When Mamdani first won his primary and most of the left were celebrating, I tried very hard not to rain on their parade and say, while it would be possible his victory to be good for the movement, it would depend on how he led. I'm at the point now where I need him to lose. Place your bets as to where this guy lives. If you had your hopes for New York or the tri-state area around it, I'm sorry, you're wrong. He is on the other coast. This is a Washington resident. And beyond proximity to the issue, I'm not saying you can't be informed if you're not nearby, there's an issue where it comes to ideological purity in electoral politics. Some of you need to embrace a bit of ideological practicality. Unfortunately, in the age we live in and the society that we're dominated by, you will not have somebody come on stage and say that they're going to take a hammer to Capitol, especially when you're trying to curry favor with an establishment party as a younger person who's not only trying to fundraise, but also just make a name for yourself in general in the modern political spectrum. With a lot of people, I've noticed when there's a slight deviation from the path, if they don't say the exact words that you're expecting them to hear, all of a sudden they're this lost cause that, oh, he said he won't bring about the end of capitalism, so that means he needs to lose this election. And who are you really asking him to lose to? If your options are a 70-year-old whose claim to fame is starting a vigilante gang 50 years ago, or a 70-year-old whose claim to fame is killing people during COVID and molesting women, personally, I think I would go with the 33-year-old who's got a fairly clean track record and seems like he wants to just build housing. Yeah, he's probably not perfect, but I mean, nobody is. And given the options, it seems like one is pretty clear. But again, I'm not from New York. I'm from South Carolina. You should probably talk to people who live in New York City and get their opinions on the people who are running. Maybe you could get a better idea of what people's actual beliefs are if you talk to people and figure out what they actually believe. Rather than living under a sort of delusion that all these people think and feel and believe the same way you do, it's possible for you to reach out, do some groundwork on your own. Doesn't even have to be in person. You could do this on the internet. It's totally fine to have discussion online. I would just recommend for you that you get your news from primary sources. That when you're trying to form your own opinion on world events or things that are happening far from you, you should try to get your news from people that are there. And also, for some of you, you should learn how to weigh your options. If you have someone who's giving you 9 of the 10 things that you want, and you call that one thing a deal breaker, so you're willing to sell them up the road to someone who is actively politicking with people who want to kill you, I mean, that's your prerogative. I'm gonna call you wrong and probably call you dumb, but whatever you want to do with your life, brother. All that said, if you want to watch the full debate, it'll be in the description of this video. You can click it and listen yourself. I don't really think it'll make much of a difference to you if you don't live in New York City. I feel like most people there already kind of have their mind made up as to who they're voting for, but I guess if you want to listen to what they had to say, or if you want to laugh at them mentioning streamers on stage, you go for it. And I guess until the next time we have a mayoral debate in a town that's far away from all of us, y'all try to have a good day.